Hello, Solo Board Game Guide here, and another video on the development of Decline, my Solitaire RPG come tactical combat game. This is an exciting one, for me at least, because I commissioned an artist to do some character art, and I've done it for a skeleton warrior, and I'm going to reveal that shortly, so do keep watching. But I wanted to talk to you about the process a little bit. You may or may not have heard of this website called Fiverr. And it originally started with jobs for $5, and basically they've opened it up to a freelancing gig now. So if you want somebody to design your website or film themselves doing a backflip, you name a thing that you want doing, someone will do it for you within reason on this site. So I found a number of fantasy artists, sort of went through the catalogue, as it were, of what kind of things you do, and I found this lady, Amanda. She's from where's she from? Venezuela, and she offers a service where she'll basically do you some artwork for an agreed fee. Fiverr has a habit of saying, "Oh, it'll be £12.89," but by the time you've added the various things, it's much higher than that. And the piece of artwork that I've commissioned ended up costing me about £47, £48, just shy of 50 Great British pounds, and that is paid for entirely through the YouTube channel. So I'm really happy with that sort of pace at the moment. So as you can tell, I quite like her art style, and she basically gives you a bit of a composite image, although for this particular composite she wanted an additional $15, which I wasn't overly happy because I have the Photoshop skills to basically layer it up. So yeah, a fantastic experience, really happy, and she's agreed basically to do the remainder of the artwork. So I'm probably going to get one more piece done before I get the thing printed. So let's do a little reveal of the skeleton warrior in question. Here he is. Poor guy needs a good meal, but I'm super happy with that. It captures the theme of decay perfectly. I wanted to try and shy away from, World of Warcraft style mega armor and big powerful characters. It's sort of, I guess a lot of the feel of this is slightly run down, pathetic creatures. Dangerous nonetheless, but certainly not world-beating gods, as I've mentioned in previous videos. So yeah, it's fantastic quality. It ships with a number of different layers, so that you can, turn off the lines, the textures, the colours even, and it comes with a bit of a nominal background, which I turned off. And you can go through and play with it. Excuse me. So yeah, super happy with that. It does raise all kinds of interesting sort of framing questions. Do you go for a larger sort of portrait, something like that? I've gone for sort of the full character art, and I'll show you what it looks like on one of the cards. Now, I'm really happy with this, just to blow my own trumpet. Things might change slightly, but this is the basic feel, and it looks legit. That is the first card, which I am super happy with. So let me just talk you through, if I can just resize my Photoshop window slightly. There we go. There we go. Okay, so the way the printing process works is basically they print onto sheet stock, and then they die cut the cards out. So this pink line obviously won't be on the final artwork. It'll basically look like that, and the pink line is where it will be cut. Now, due to the process, you can't guarantee exactly where it's been cut, so that's what's known as a safe area. So it'll, much like a Magic the Gathering card, have a black border with rounded edges, but I'm guaranteed to have all this inside the card itself. So I've changed things around a little bit. I think it looks great with the character art, and I think it's a bit weighing up what to do next. I think I'm probably going to get like a city guard done for the first quest, because for the first quest is where you're going to run into some of the Volundian guard for the first time. So let's explain what things we can see on the card. So we have movement, agility, strength, and toughness. That's talked about in my combat video, which I'll link to up here. In the game, it's not going to be experience points, kill a monster, get experience. Basically, you have a point system which dictates how tough an encounter will be. So we've got this happens to be 9 points, and we've got a creature type of undead. The reason why there's a creature type on there, there'll be various in-game effects which will affect undead creatures. Not to give too much away, but there is going to be a powerful character in later missions which gives buffs to undead creatures and so on. This is its health points, 10 health points. The tracking of that is something I'll go into a different video, which is potentially a bit tricky, but I think I've got a clever solution. And then we've got a information box at the bottom. So it'll give a melee weapon, short sword with d6 damage. Give a ranged weapon, short bow, range 2, so that will operate on any 2 cards, adjacent cards. So the card it's on plus 1 other, which gives d6 damage as well. And then we've got the first of the keywords, which I want to introduce, because I've done a bit of a keyword brainstorming session. There's young Max having a scream in the background. So yeah, also any notes, so weakness, bludgeoning, and immune to poison. This brings me on to the different kinds of keywords. Now, I did a live stream the other day, or YouTube premiere, I can't remember what the correct term is, and Huge Hands suggested a fantastic one called Sideswipe, whereby a player character can basically deal damage to adjacent characters, which is really nice, and I'm going to include that in some of the weapon keywords. But this is basically keywords for just enemies at the moment. So the first one that you saw on this guy is Disengage 2. So basically what Disengage does is once they've made an attack, successful or not, it moves 2 squares away, so it almost dabs in and then just retreats a little bit. I might yet call it retreat, to be honest. I think maybe Disengage 2 for skeletons, maybe a bit nimble, but the idea is it's making you chase, constantly change your board position. It's trying to stop you just getting into a rut of swinging back and forth, which is a problem I found with Mordheim, if you've ever played that. But something in early testing, I just found you could get stuck in a corner of a map, and it reduces the movement option. So Disengage, Charge, this is going to be things for like wild boars and centaurs and things. +1 damage for each square taken to reach the target. I may well do Charge X +2 or +X damage for each square taken to reach the target. Presumably it hurts more to be hit by a knight and a horse than it does by a wild boar. Thankfully never experienced it. At Web, we have a giant spider, good fantasy trope. If you're hit by a web attack, spend 2 action points before performing any other action. So basically, it's trying to make you have tactical options to manage your action points, and also to develop skills and weapons and magic items which will allow you to top up action points in-game. Multi-attack, make a separate attack with each weapon. So if you have an enemy with a sword in each hand, they get to attack twice. Garrisons, interesting. Need to work on the wording and playtest it a bit more, but basically, if you hit a garrison creature and that creature isn't the highest health creature on that square, that card, then it passes the damage to the next highest creature. So basically it makes it harder to kill, but also gives an interesting effect in that you can attack a garrison creature and it'll deal out damage, perhaps to even harder to hit creatures, which is quite interesting. Anyway, that is Garrison, when I'm talking about a card, for example, this is an example battle map I sent out the other newsletter, and if I'm on here, if I'm on this square right here, then it affects anything else on that square. Similarly, when we're talking about a ranged weapon, if it has a range of 2, I'm here, enemy's here, it can hit me. It's got a range of 1, anything on that card, anything on this card. So that's what that is about. Pack Hunter. Successful attacks gain +1 damage for each adjacent Pack Hunter creature. So things like goblins and wolves will have this. There's a lot of them. The damage adds up. Poison. If damage is dealt from a poison creature, also deal an additional X poison damage. Then, each turn before resetting the player card, which I'll go into another turn, basically your upkeep, when it's your go, you reset your player card. Before you even do that, you gain X poison damage until neutralised. And there'll be various methods for neutralising poison. That wooded glade that you might have seen in previous videos is going to have something to do with that. Also, magic items will have neutralising effects. Resurrect, spell wrong. Resurrect X. If a creature dies, resurrect with X health. And then it'll go next after you. Again, wording needs firming up there. It's obviously for zombies. Rage X. If a creature has taken any damage, it gains X strength. Inspire. Whilst in play, creatures sharing a type gain X agility. So where this is going to kick in is there's going to be some city guard, effectively. There's going to be a city guard captain. Whilst the captain's on the board, it's going to basically buff the other creatures. So you've got an incentive to take out the guard before the captain, before you take out the guards. And then counter X. If a creature takes damage, it deals X damage back. So that, again, wording needs firming up. It'll probably be X damage plus strength. Again, more details in the combat video. But things are coming together. So what I actually have to do now, just to cover a little bit of old ground, if you're interested, I have to basically do a bit of admin. I got a quote from my printer. They can do me a prototype set for 34 quid, which I think is unbelievably cheap for a die cut one-off with a tuck box, no less, of 70 cards. And they can deliver it in 6 days. So I'm going to get another piece of art commissioned. Probably a city guard, because they're going to pop up quite a few times in the first few quests. And I'm going to aim to have a physical copy of the game for the start of November. So first week in November is what I'm going for. I've been over these 1,000,001 times, these various cards. So I'm going to get all those printed. Maybe a couple of quest descriptions on the back. I'm mostly going to be writing those in a document. I'm going to get all my creatures from my creature spreadsheet here. I'm going to get those done minus the artwork, maybe just 2 pieces of artwork. So this will just be blank here, but it'll allow me to at least start play testing more seriously. Then there is the small matter of getting all my crafting. So that's just a case of going to be copying and pasting these tables onto separate cards. So that's herbalism, mining, and loot. So there'll be another 3 cards. Bear in mind, I've got 70 cards to play with, so I've got absolutely bags of room for this stuff. I need to do a player card, and then the other video I did, so I can just open it up here, bags. So obviously you're going to have to keep all your loot and items, questing items, in place. So I've done a bunch of bags. So small bag, large bag, which can be paid for as you develop. So I wished I'd have opened the preview now, but there we go. So the bags. So there's a lot of cards basically that are prepared. A bit of admin work, basically transferring my spreadsheet onto this format. Then I'll get it printed, and at that point, I should be able to start doing some kind of print and play version. I would say, hopefully, we'll call it a Christmas present. I'll try and get a print and play version out for December. Certainly of the first few quests, and we can play with it. The definite hardest bit, I'm going to say, is going to be the balancing of the weapons. The whole sort of idea of the game is that, you're not finding items. Oh, there we go. I loaded the wrong one up after all that. You're not finding amazing items, and you're not leveling up. You're crafting interesting items to solve problems in the game. So you've seen a few of the problems you might have. You might have an enemy with poison. You might have an enemy with web. There's undead creatures. There's various things that are going to need specialist solutions. You're going to be crafting items throughout to suit quests, and you're going to find out that maybe you need to undertake a bit of crafting to solve the puzzles within a particular quest. So goes the idea anyway. But it's coming together, and for the first time I'm feeling like a proper game designer, or at least a game producer if nothing else. But that's a bit of a longer video. You're hopefully seeing where it's going. I'm absolutely going to say I've put there's too much water gone under the bridge for this not to happen now. So super excited, and as always, your feedback is very, very welcome and a big motivator for me carrying on. So do drop us a comment if you've got any ideas for keywords, enemies, what artwork you want to see next, quest ideas, you name it. All that good stuff. I want that. And also, if you're first time you've seen this and this has caught your imagination, sign up to the link in the description, because we'll send a newsletter out maybe once or twice a month, just telling you where I'm up to. So, thanks for watching, and thanks for staying involved.